Here we have a model IMV30-T Hart multivariable transmitter measuring flow rate, and it appears to be indicating 11,242 pounds per hour. However, we have an error message showing up at the bottom of the screen that says M6 ERR. Well, what does that mean? M6 is the flow measurement. That means that the flow calculation may be an error. What would cause that message? Well, that message occurs when one or more of the process variables is outside of the user configured equation limits. Well, what are the process variables? There are three process variables coming into this transmitter in order to calculate density compensated flow: differential pressure, gauge pressure, and temperature from an external RTD. So the first thing we want to do is look at those measurements and see if any of them look invalid. And that's easy enough to do by just pushing the enter button. So if I hit enter, I will see that my DP is 20 inches of water. If I hit enter again, my gauge pressure measurement is 100 psi. And if I hit enter again, my RTD is approximately 220 degrees F. All of those appear to be valid readings, but are they within the equation limits that the user has set when the device was first configured? Well, we don't know. We'd have to go look at the equation limits. Well, how do I do that? We need PCMV software, which is set up right over here on the PC next to this transmitter. So we're already connected. So what I want to do is I want to click on this icon that looks like a letter A, and that will bring me to the PCMVA portion of the software that shows the equation limits. Take a few minutes for it to download the information, but then a window will appear that looks like this. We'll see if we can zoom in a little bit, and we'll see at the top here it says enter flow equation limits. So I'll see my DP lower and upper limits are -1 and 150. Well, as you recall, our differential pressure measurement was 20 inches of water, which is between the limits. Our gauge pressure limits are -1 and 200 psi. Our transmitter is running at 100 psi, which is within the limits. And our RTD limits are 250 and 500 degrees F. Now, as you recall, our RTD is measuring at 220 degrees F. So there is the variable that is outside of the user equation limits. Well, how do we rectify this? Well, one thing to do is you could just not do anything and wait for the temperature to come back within these limits, at which point the M6 error will go away. Now, we just happen to have this transmitter connected to a decade box. So what I will do is I will bring the temperature up to something greater than 250. So I'm going to go to the temperature measurement. We'll see it's 220. So I'm going to click my decade box up to 268 degrees F, and now you'll see the M6 error no longer appears. If I go back to the flow rate, there's my flow measurement, no M6 error. However, if it goes back down to 220, the error reappears. Now, perhaps we need to run at temperature is lower than 220. So how do I stop that error from occurring? Well, I have to go back to my PCMV where the 250 was and put a number something less than 220. So I'm going to put 200 in there as my lower limit, which means now I want the transmitter to calculate flow when the temperature is between these two values, 200 and 500. So I put the 200 in. I click on this box in the lower left-hand corner that says Enter Design Conditions using PCMVB. It's going to show me the tag number. It's going to ask me if this is the one I want to use, and I will say yes. At that point, we're going to go into the full application menu. So we're going to see all of the application data that's been entered into this transmitter. This screen says it's an orifice plate. Here it says we have flange taps. This is the current data that's entered into the transmitter. We don't want to change anything. So we just want to keep hitting next, next, and apply, next, apply, next, because we want to keep all of the data we had. When we finally get to the end, we'll see we have to hit save or back. You hit save. We'll bring you back to this screen where we entered the 200. We click on download, click on download again, and the information will be downloaded to the transmitter. You'll see the progress bar at the bottom of the screen. When it's done, it'll say the file has changed. You might want to save your changes. OK. Then it's going to say you have downloaded the database for flow and density configuration. So basically it's telling you you're going to go back to the heart configuration screen. So you click OK. And if we scroll back over to our transmitter, you will see that the M6 error is no longer present. So that is an explanation of what the M6 error means and how to resolve the issue.